First, actually, before that, let's normalize it. So there's a certain level of people feeling ashamed if they have suicidal thoughts, if they've had suicide attempts, but there's actually nothing to be ashamed about. It's easy for me to say from this perspective, but the reason why is that typically suicidal thoughts is a reaction to the fight or flight system. So you are in a situation where your primal brain is saying either I got to attack this thing or I got to run away. So if a person's stuck and there's nothing to attack, so I got to flee and get out of here, but there's no way for you to flee or get out of there. That's where, well, if I'm not alive, I can get out of this situation. So ironically, suicide can be an effect of a survival mechanism. Wow. So if you put it into those terms for someone, okay, my brain's doing what it's supposed to do. So let's recalibrate, and if you can find a different way to get out that doesn't involve death, then other options show up. And I could go into more statistics of if you change one element of somebody's plan for suicide, typically they won't go through with it because your will to survive is so strong and so ingrained that will take over. It takes a lot of effort to actually override your survival instincts. Things to look for. And again, we are all susceptible to these things. If someone suddenly is losing a lot of interest in things, a lot of performer friends of mine I've talked to on the phone or Skype or Zoom, and they're feeling depressed because they're extroverts and they're not getting kind of emotionally recharged by doing the things that they do. And so they're home and their emotional battery is draining, and then they don't have the energy to really do things because they aren't getting rejuvenized, and that can disrupt your sleep and that can disrupt your appetite. So if you notice someone stops taking care of themselves, no longer really bathing. Now, this is a pandemic, so if people aren't changing out of their pajamas, it might just be because it's a pandemic, but you can always ask. There's no harm in, hey, I just want to make sure you're okay. I noticed X, Y, and Z. If somebody starts gaining a lot of weight or losing a lot of weight, that's typically showing you there's been a change in appetite. And if someone is losing a lot of weight real fast and stops eating, that is very, very concerning. Somebody is not sleeping or so anxiety ridden that they're going days without sleep, that's a big red flag. And another thing to know is if you do go days without sleep, everybody is susceptible to start having hallucinations. It doesn't mean you have schizophrenia. It doesn't mean you have something else. Just anyone who goes long enough without sleep will start hallucinating. And if you can't take care of yourself because you just haven't gotten adequate rest or whatever it may be, that's another big significant red flag. People making up excuses why they can't spend time with you or talk to you, and they're always busy, always got something else to do, yet they're never doing anything. That's a red flag. And the biggest of the red flags, they start giving stuff away. So if you know someone and they are suddenly giving away possessions that you wouldn't expect them to give away, like the Nashville incident, right? There was that guy, he gave away his property right before he did what he had done to somebody in California. So there's a bunch of little signs there. And if you notice that something is happening or you are concerned or you just have a feeling, sometimes just your instinct, because you know somebody enough, your subconscious may be like, something's not quite right. And if you just ask, are you okay? Yeah. I just want to make sure you're okay. I want you to know that you're important to me. And I'm just concerned. And if you're okay, that's great. But if you're not, I want to know, because I want to be there to be able to help you. And that's really that's the first step into bridging that lonely island, so to speak.